Loch Katrine is a beautifully scenic loch that lays in the Scottish Trossachs, east of Loch Lomond. In our modern day, the loch is a popular attraction for tourists, and is well beloved by Scottish fly fishers. It holds a place of great importance for the nearby people of Glasgow, being their prime water reservoir for much of the city since 1859. But apart from that, the history and the origin of the loch is a complete mystery. Even the method and meaning behind its name has led to some controversy. Some suggest that it is Pictish in origin and derived from the Celtic root Ceit, meaning dark or gloomy, named for the dense forest which surrounds it, while others believe it to be derived from the Gaelic word ceathairne, anglicised to Cateran, a word that historically in Scotland has referred to a roaming band of warriors, and became widely used to identify mercenaries and cattle thieves in the later years, which I suppose in some ways is very fitting, considering Scotland's most famous cattle thief, or Catanach Rob Roy McGregor, was born in Glengyle at the head of Loch Katrine. But today I am here to tell you the true story of how the loch came by its name, or at least the one known and told by the locals, Catherine's Folly. Back during the ancient times in Scotland, Loch Katrine was a vast, and more importantly, a dry valley, filled with houses and crofts, in which lived many farmers, shepherds and foresters, who cheerfully coexisted within the land, in peace and prosperity. Now many tell that this wealth and plenty was in a great many ways connected to a sacred fountain that lay on the side of Benvenue, a great mountain at the southern end of the valley. This freshwater spring was surrounded with large rocks, making a well which was full throughout the year and never became frozen. This unending water supply gave the locals all they needed to prosper in the valley, and it was due to this that the sacred well was at all times guarded, mostly just to keep away animals that may pollute the waters. But unknown to the locals, there was something else, or someone else, living upon the mountain, and deep within the caves of Benvenue, a powerful spirit existed. Now this spirit harboured a deep hatred for the people of the valley, and would look down upon them from the mountainous peak, and wish nothing more than their total destruction. The beast claimed the spring as its own, and became determined to have possession of it once more, if only he could rid the mountainside of the well's guardian. Throughout the years, the sacred spring of Benvenue had many a guardian, someone who would sleep during the day and stay alert by the wellside each night, protecting it from all would-be evildoers. At this particular time, the guardian was a young maiden from the valley by the name of Cateran, and it is she who would face the beast. The malevolent spirit of the mountain was not one for great ferocity or violence, and worked in a far more subversive manner. The being would appear before the maiden as a handsome young Scotsman, and attempt to seduce her from the well. But Cateran outright refused, and told the man that she would not leave her post, not for him or anyone else. The enraged creature returned to his cave, and further plotted. Then on the next evening, the young man returned, and offered the maiden gold and riches, if only she would come with him and be his bride. But once more the woman refused his advances, and told him she would not leave the well, not for him and not for anyone else. Again the spirit was rebuffed, and returned to his cave in embarrassment and further fury. But on the third night, a truly devious scheme came to the mind of the spirit, and once more he headed to the well. There he appeared, much as he had the nights before, in the radiant form of a handsome Scotsman. He approached the guardian, and told her that he dare not ask her to leave her post, and that he had so much respect for the loyalty and steadfast nature that she had shown. The man went on to tell Cateran that upon seeing her for the first time, he had fell madly in love, and it would mean the world if she would merely share a meal with him. Now the young maid was somewhat flattered by the man's proposal, and since they could eat by the well's side, she saw no harm in accepting his offer. The enchanting spirit brought forth 2 bowls filled with all manner of forest fruits and mountain berries. The maiden happily took one and began to eat, but it was then that the soporiferous mixture that laced her bowl took hold, and she fell into a deep and magical sleep. The wily spirit was overjoyed, and with a hideous laugh began to tear down the stone well, letting the endless supply of water torrent down into the valley. It being the very dead of night, all the locals were fast asleep, and by the time they woke, it was too late. Those that were not killed by the flood soon drowned in their panicked escape from the ever-deepening water. When morning finally came, and Cateran woke from her enchanted slumber, she looked upon a great loch where once a village had been. The poor maiden was assailed by grief, her friends and family all gone, and all because of her mistake. Despondent and hopeless, the young maiden threw herself into the waters, and in death returned to her home, now at the bottom of the loch. From that day on, the loch has forever been known as Loch Katrine, named for the final guardian of the sacred well, and many still tell of the spirit that resides in the caves of Benvenue, and on dark nights his malicious laughter can still be heard echoing across the loch. Thank you for listening, and a special thank you to my wonderful patrons for helping me keep these tales alive. What interests me the most about this tale is the spirit, as it is never really mentioned what the creature is, and in some versions it identifies the creature as a demon. But almost all of the she or fair folk are thought of as demons once Christianity dominated the land. But to me personally, I can't help but think that this spirit is some form of kelpie. The old Scottish waterhorse is a well-known shapeshifter, and in many tales appears as a handsome young man with jet black hair, arriving to seduce young maidens. Not only that, but the fact that the entire tale revolves around a spring, and then of course a loch. Kelpies are powerful water spirits, and it seems to me that this creature could have been the very spirit of the Benvenue spring, and later the master of Loch Katrine. The waterhorse is not known for its amiability at the best of times, and may have become further angered as it was separated from its home, that being the sacred well or fountain, leading it to its malicious actions against the young woman. That is my interpretation of the story anyway, but there are other legends surrounding the loch that may also give us some insight to this tale. It is widely known that the banks of Loch Katrine are home to many an urisk, a half-fae creature known to dislike humans and prefer a solitary life. Urisk are commonly harmless, and although quick to anger, are often far from violent. The urisk has been suggested as a possible candidate for the beast of Benvenue, but personally I cannot see it. The urisk is never so malevolent, powerful or cunning, but the abundance of urisk sightings near the loch does seem to suggest that it was a hub for the Sidhe. These tales were so popular that they even found their way into a poem by Sir Walter Scott set around Loch Katrine. By many a bard in Celtic tongue has Corn and Urskin been sung, a softer name the Saxons gave, and called the grot the Goblin Cave. This Corn and Urskin, or the Corrie of the Urisks, a cave in which they call home, appears in some versions of our Loch Katrine tale, where it states that the demon or spirit lives in the Den of the Ghosts, also known to some as the Cave of Goblins. It is my belief that these and Corn and Urskin are one and the same, and wherever that cave exists on Benvenue, it has a powerful connection to the other world and the Doine Sidhe. So if you ever find yourself at Loch Katrine, spare a moment's thought for the poor woman who gave it its name, and keep your eyes peeled for creatures not of this world. Slangeva,